So I'm going to show you a sketchbook that I feel is rather successful based on the theme of reflections. So this student here is the first page. I'm just going to turn that. We can see they've started with a mind map. I think it's always a good idea to start with a mind map, just to get those ideas out of your head, onto paper, and really start thinking about the topic. You can see this student has artist examples. We've got a David Hockney example there, some other examples such as MC Escher, and she's taken these examples from the internet and Pinterest, and she's written some comments. I actually feel this student could have produced a few more could have added to the mind map, produced a few more ideas, but it's a start nonetheless. So it's always important that you get your ideas down and start with a mind map. And then artist research is really important. So we have Sebastian Magnani here and Daniel Kuckler, and we can see the student has looked at Daniel Kuckler and got the photographs of Daniel Kuckler's work and done their own example. The same as Sebastian Magnani here. Looked at the photographs and then done their own examples, tried to copy those in paint. And we have information about the artists, and she's explained what she's done and given her opinion. Very important. How these artists affect or influence you is well worth mentioning. We then here have the statement of intent. It's very important that you plan your ideas. So this statement of intent, she talks about how she's going to practice her compositional skills and the materials she wants to use, watercolours for example, and the artists she wants to look at, Sebastian Magnani and Daniel Kuckler. But as you'll find as we go through the book, she adapts her ideas and actually later on writes a second statement of intent. As her ideas develop, as her ideas develop, her statement of intent has to change. So immediately she's straight onto her first composition idea, where she's combining Sebastian Magnani with his circular mirrors and the Daniel Kuckler image of the mirror on the easel. And now she's looked at another artist. She's brought another artist in, and this is Cristina Trufa, Portuguese artist, who often uses mirrors in her work, and that's how she's come into the topic of reflections. And in particular, if we look at these poses, she's done her own version here, and you can see this pose of this person with a ribbon. I don't know if you can see that in the bottom right hand corner. Keep an eye out for that, because that comes back into play later on. In fact, I'm going to put my hand there on that page so I can flip back and show you. She's then looked at Kate Brinkworth, who's quite renowned for her Coca-Cola bottle paintings, and she's given it her own version. Again, this appears later on. So already we have 4 artist research, so lots of artists to influence this student. And then this is where it starts to get really quite good. The student has gone away and completed a photo shoot, and we can see she's got these contact sheets in. If I just move that over, she's got these contact sheets of her images that she's taken, and she explores these images later on, in particular this image here. And we can see that she's annotated her work, she's explained what she's done, she's explained compositional techniques that she's used. So if I go just before I turn the page, remember this image here. This image later on appears here. She's drawn it out. She actually went back and refined this drawing. This was what it looked like originally. She's photocopied that, and then she's put a painting in the style of Kate Brinkworth on top. So she's combining her own original photographs with the artist's styles. Again, Cristina Trufa has appeared here, trying to combine Cristina Trufa's ideas with her mirrors that she's taken photographs of. So those artist influences are coming through and are evident in her book. And this is where we start to look towards the final outcome. In this photo shoot, I've been inspired by the style of Cristina Trufa. So the model here is modelling for our artist, and you can see that she's playing with the mirror. She's posing with the mirror, and she's playing with these ribbons, And that connects directly to the Christina Trufa images that had inspired her, but she wanted to incorporate the style of Sebastian Magnani by having this round mirror that appears repeatedly in the work. Those photographs then become ink drawings and a little bit of pencil work as she's experimenting with materials. And still developing her ideas, the student goes away and does reflected photos here. So another photo shoot, holding mirrors up in front of the figure. She might include Christina Trufa style photos in the mirror. Could also include Kate Brinkworth Coca-Cola bottles as a reflection. So these annotations, she's reflecting on what she's doing as a young artist, and she's thinking about what she can add and improve to her work. So the photographs become a final piece idea. We have the Christina Trufa inspired composition that she's taken photographs of before, combined with the other scene that she's taken on, which you've seen on the previous 2 pages. And she's used a pastel-y style plain colour background to link with Christina Trufa. Then she's refining her work in pencil, so exploring pencil. She's looking at the Coca-Cola bottle. She's looking at her Christina Trufa style and Sebastian Magnani inspired ideas, and she's really developing and honing on her pencil skills. Lovely contrast of tones in this image, lots of different textures as well. The student has then moved into Photoshop, so she's used modern technology, computers, to help develop her ideas, and you can see how she's starting to edit the image, and that Coca-Cola bottle has appeared in her photo shoot she did with her photo shoot she did in the style of Christina Trufa. That Coca-Cola bottle has now appeared on that mirror. We have more developing of ideas. And this is a printed version of her Photoshop work. And she's fragmented that, and that links into a previous project that we did, so that's quite clever to do. And we have another composition idea here. So she's working out what it is that she wishes to make. Going back to Daniel Cutler, she's working out if she needs to do it in a Daniel Cutler style, but with this composition. This one is inspired by Kate Brinkworth. We then have another statement of intent. So during this project, she's focused on reflections, as she mentions here, and she's looked at, or mentions the artist she's looked at, Kate Brinkworth, Christina Trufa, Daniel Cutler. And she's talking about how she's experimented with different materials. She's also talked about how she's been inspired by a previous project of fragments, and how she's used Photoshop. This is quite different to her original statement of intent. We have further ideas, development ideas here. And we have some more here. And she's even played around with different backgrounds. Just some quick collage pieces looking at the plain coloured backgrounds Christina Trufa is famous for. And then we have larger pieces that she's produced in the exam. So I'm just going to close the book, or move the book for a moment. So there's a large A2 pencil drawing of her composition. Very well drawn. And finally, as a final piece in the exam, she's produced the same image but in watercolour paint. And we can look very closely at the details and the highlights on the hair that she's painted in, almost being able to see every hair through her brush strokes there. And if I just move this a little bit, so hopefully that makes it a bit clearer, we can see all those details and the highlights that she's painted on the Coca-Cola bottle. So in conclusion, for a successful project, you need to be thinking of mind maps, producing a statement of intent, taking your own photographs, working from artists, and continuously developing your ideas, as well as refining your skills as you experiment with different media.